Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, and I've got to say I'm delighted to be joined by the big man, my big countryman himself, Nick Campbell. Nick, I messaged you today and I was like, you know what, I've not heard from you in a long, long time. What the heck have you been up to?
Listen, man, I'm just in camp with Joe at the moment. Not as a sparring partner or anything, but just out here training with Andy Lee, perfecting the craft, learning as much as I can, keep my head down, and might not be so active on social the last couple of months, but keeping myself very busy.
Good. That's what I like to hear. I like to hear somebody that's just laser focused, head down, and ready to rumble, because you have got a fight day on the 21st of March in Birmingham on a sporting club show. Yeah, just talk to me about level of opponent you're going to get, how many rounds, and is it a sort of like a fight just to get you back into the mix after a long layoff?
Yeah, listen, I think I've been a little bit unlucky in terms of fights not coming off. I had two fights pull out in the day of the event last year. So, they'd like to have had 3-4 fights last year that ended up turning into one. I've not fought since April last year. That's nearly a year. I've had a lot of great sparring and training, but there's nothing quite like the real thing. So yeah, sixth rounder hopefully. Opponent's still not 100% confirmed, but looking to get somebody with a winning record that's going to pose me questions and be a good night's work. So that's the plan at the moment. Just working towards that. I'm lucky I've got Scott Murray of the Excelsior Sporting Club, who's been good enough to put me on this show, and hopefully he's going to get me another couple of fights, build a bit of momentum, and then see what's out there, take a big opportunity.
Definitely. And you need momentum right now, because you must be looking at these domestic level, or not domestic level fighters, but these fighters at domestic level right now, and your Solomon Dakers, your Fraser Clarks, your Wardleys, your David Adelaide's, there's so many, maybe even Big Nathan Gorman if he's hanging about, Johnny Fishers. You must be looking at these guys thinking, I need my name to be in the mix. When you talk about them guys, I want you to speak about Nick Campbell as well. Are you hungry and eager to get there in 2024?
Definitely. Listen, I've got a lot of respect for all the guys you've named. They're all working hard, doing their own thing, getting their name out there. But ultimately, that's the name of the game, in it, to put your name up there and big lights, get on the big shows, and build a reputation for yourself. The camp I'm in now, it's world class in terms of the level of opposition that Joe's facing at the moment, and I'm a small part of his preparation for that, and it rubs off on you. So I'd love to be in his position one day, fight on the level that he's fighting, but I've got to go through the process to get there, and yeah, I'd love to push my name up there, get it in amongst all these lads.
You're obviously in camp with Joseph Parker right now, and he's got a tough task on his hands. But you mentioned that you're a small part of Joe's preparation going into the Zhilei ZHANG fight. But I'm a Christian man, and Proverbs 27:17 says, "Iron sharpens iron," and I'm guessing that's what you're getting right now. You're just rubbing off Joe right now, and the iron is sharpening iron and making you a better fighter.
No, listen, definitely. And the fact that we're getting to train with Andy as well, getting to pick his brain, just learning from the best. Obviously, George is here as well. He's helped me out with my strength and conditioning, my nutrition, all that. All adds up. So I don't really have any excuses in terms of the level of training I'm getting and the level of input I'm getting into, all the finer details. So I'm blessed in that sense. I'm lucky enough that, me and Joe have got a great relationship. We enjoy training together. We push each other in training. And like you say, being around these guys, it rubs off on you. So yeah, it is pretty self-explanatory. It's iron sharpens iron. If you're around these guys, some of it's got to rub off. So I'm just making the most of it and trying to take in as much as I can.
And George, for people that don't know, is George Lockhart, a nutritionist, S&C coach, worked with champion after champion after champion in the UFC and in boxing. My American brother spent a lot of time with George out in the States as well, and he's a good man. So I'm going to give George a shout out there. you've been in camp with Joe, like I just mentioned there. Now, I told the task at hand against Zhilei ZHANG is you might say it's tougher than the Wilder fight, maybe because Wilder was out the ring for so long. He didn't have that sort of ring rust. It was 1 round in 2 years. He's up against Zhilei ZHANG, who's coming off 2 absolute dominating, brutal performances against Joe Joyce, who then beat Joseph Parker a couple of years back. And I know styles make fights, and this is definitely a different Joe Parker. He's been active. He's got George Lockhart, like you just said there, helping him with his strength and conditioning and building that base. So what happens in that fight, Nick? You might have give me a biased answer here, but how do you see this fight going down?
You know, I don't disagree with anything you've just said, but out with Joe Joyce, who's Zhang fought, he's not really, the only other fight he's been in was with Hergovich and he got beat. A lot of people thought it was a close fight, but I think if you watch it back, you would be hard pressed not to give it to Hergovich. You know, Joe's been in and mixed it with the best. Obviously, he spoke about the Joe Joyce fight, but there was a lot going on prior to that camp, which, you know, it's not my place to talk about any of it, but, you know, maybe it wasn't quite, the timing for Joe wasn't quite 100% going into that fight. So listen, it's timing, styles that make fights. I think Joe's going to have a game plan with Andy, and obviously have done the work in the gym with George, out with the work in the boxing ring, that it's going to give him the edge in this fight. And I think going to be controversial. I'm going to go for Joe to stop him between rounds 6 and 10.
You know what? I'm not a betting man, but listen, that sounds like a good bet. Whatever the odds are for that bet, man, that must be up there, Nick. The reason why you say a stoppage win for Joe Parker, is that just because of what you're seeing in the gym? He's had 4 fights in 2023, and we all know that you yourself, it's been a long time since you've had a fight as well. You've had these stop starts, a fight being called off and whatnot. But Joe's had fight after fight after fight after fight. And a fighter like yourself, you know, consistency and being active is very, very crucial going into big fights. Zhilei ZHANG's gone off these two Joyce wins. So obviously, the reason why you said that, is that just because of the way you're seeing Joe right now in camp? Because he does seem to be like a man on the mission from what I saw in Saudi.
Yeah, last night, if the Joe of right now fought Joe Joyce, it wouldn't have been the same fight. And I do think that, you know, maybe Zhang was all wrong for Joe. There's an element of that, like you say, styles to make fights and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, listen, I think like a combination of all the factors, the extra time he's had with Andy, the extra time he's had with George, the momentum he's built, the fights he's had, you know, career best performance he's coming off the back of with Wilder. Yeah, I just think all the timing's right for Joe to go and get another upset. And listen, it's there's not many guys like Joe anymore. Do you mean fight anyone, anywhere, anytime? So he's never, I don't think he's turned down a fight. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good night for Joe, another big one. And you know, listen, Zhang's a dangerous man. It'll be another career best performance required, but I think he's doing everything that's required to get that.
You touched on it a little bit there. I just want to go back to it. I just want to circle back to it. Joseph Parker right now beats Joe Joyce right now.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I think the Joe that fought Joe Joyce and the Joe now are 2 different animals. So yeah, I think the Joe Parker right now beats Joe Joyce right now. And that's no disrespect to Joe Joyce. I think he's a phenomenal fighter and a real good guy, but that's just my opinion.
Nick, it's a shame you're not a southpaw, because you would have been some good. You're tall. You're as tall as Zhilei ZHANG. I don't know if you can switch it. Can you? Can you turn southpaw?
Listen, I'm not that gifted. Andy actually got me on the pad a couple of times, like, right, shape up like a southpaw, let's see. And yeah, I could have maybe moved Joe around for a couple of rounds and given it a good bit of listen. I'm not a southpaw, so I wouldn't have been the best of sparring for Big Zhang. And like I say as well, I don't disregard Zhang when I say that I think Joe's going to beat him. I think he's a great fighter, but that's how much belief I have in Joe at the moment. So yeah, it's no disrespect intended to anybody, but I'm obviously always going to back my boy. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to go against him.
Definitely. Well, let's do a little segue here over to Tyson Fury now. Obviously, 2 weeks out from the fight, nasty cut from sparring. Looked like it was an elbow, but a punch, like a fall through elbow that cut him underneath the head guard. A lot of you've been in camp with Tyson a couple of times now. Well, you've been in the gym anyway. You've helped him out in a couple of rounds and whatnot. You've been there with Joe Parker. Now, the conspiracy theory was, Nick, was that Tyson cut his own eye. You know the man. Would you have done something like that?
No, it's just ridiculous, to be honest with you. You know, even if you want to, you know, be crude about it, the amount of money that was on the line for both men to have the fight, you know, it's great. Like, of course he never cut his own eye. Yeah, listen, there's one thing I've learned from being around all these camps is that, you know, all the stories that get put out there, and this guy dropped that guy, and this guy done this, and this guy said that, it's all nonsense. It's all just, you know, to build hype and build this and build that. So I don't really read into any of that. And I would put all my money that I had that Tyson never done that. No way. Listen, these things happen. It's a contact sport at the end of the day. And he's unsparring big physical men. It's just what a freak shot. These things happen, you know, as you know, God's plan must be something different from what was intended. So listen, just go with the flow. It's boxing. It moves fast. There's lots of moving parts. All it takes is a cut, an injury. Anything can happen. Do you know what I mean? So it could have been Usyk, in sparring, clash of heads. You never know. So nah, but he never cut himself. Don't read into anything like that.
Obviously, we're getting the fight May 18th. It's back on. Only 3 months away. We've got to wait. I think you said Tyson beats Usyk, but you still have that same opinion?
Yeah, I think Tyson does beat Usyk. I think Usyk is not to be trifled with, though. You know, he's a serious man, and I think the reason that Tyson beats him is size. I think he's just too big, too physical, too strong over a 12-round heavyweight fight. I think he would just have the edge on Usyk, but it's a tough fight. And I think if you look at how seriously Tyson took his preparation for the fight, you can see that he knows how much of, you know, a task is at hand. So I still back Tyson, but I think it's going to be one hell of a fight, and it's going to take, you know, another amazing performance for Tyson to get the job done. But I think you can see, like I said, his preparation, the weight he's dropped, the shape he was looking in, he's definitely going to do the business.
Nick, will you be making the trip out to Saudi to carry on with the camp with Joe, because you're in camp yourself? Will you be making the trip out there?
Unfortunately not. Logistics just don't work out. I would love to be there. But yeah, money talks, unfortunately. So
well, listen, get on one of them Saudi cards in, Nick.
Aye, listen, it would be great. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to be out there. One, to continue camp, but also, you know, support Joe. But, you know, wherever I am in the world, he's got my full support, and I'll be watching and, you know, hopefully talking to him, seeing what's going on, keeping a ear on the ground with how the camp's going and everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. Well, the one final one from me. You do have a fight coming up at the end of March. Good to get back out in the ring. Kick off 2024. Well, bang. What's going to happen come fight night?
Stoppage, Nick CAMPBELL stoppage. Listen, I've been working really hard. I've been putting everything into my training. I'm getting the preparation right, and I'm going to go out there, do a professional, you know, number on whoever it may be. But listen, it's not personal, it's just business. I'm just here to do my job and do it well.
Well said, well said. Listen, go and tell George I'll see him in Saudi, man. I love that big guy. And
I'll tell him.
I love you too, my brother. And listen, keep training hard. And come 21st of March, we'll get another chat. And hopefully you've got that win under your belt with a big stoppage like you've just predicted. But until then, mate, stay safe, keep training hard. And I'll speak to you on the next one, brother.
And I appreciate it. Big love back. And I'll see you soon, man. Enjoy Saudi. Stay safe.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much, Nick. See you soon, mate.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.